Welcome to the Capitalist Sage podcast. We're here to bring you advice and tips from seasoned pros and experts to help you improve your business. I'm Carl Barham with Transworld Business Advisors, and my co-host is Rico Figliolini with Mighty Rockets Digital Marketing and the publisher of the Petrie Corner magazine.
Hey, Carl.
Hey, Rico, how you doing today?
Good.
Good.
Yes.
Why don't you tell the audience a little bit about our sponsors?
Sure. Well, one of our main sponsors is Atlanta Tech Park. We're right here in their podcast studios. Great place. This is a place that Robin Bonfay, I think I'm pronouncing that right.
Bonfay is correct.
Bonfay, an executive from AT&T, BlackBerry, and Samsung. She's the one that started this place. It's made to really help innovators engage entrepreneurs and startups and to sustain the startups from go even further. So this is here in Peachtree Corners Tech Hub, and it's doing great. So we're out of this. CMX Cine Bistro is a dinner movie theater with reserved seating, chef prepared food, scratch kitchen. This should be a 4-star restaurant that just happens to show movies. So great love seats and great cocktails. Everything's from scratch, even desserts from scratch. So if you haven't tried it, you need to go. Their website is cinebistro.com, and I think they're playing Men in Black and Dark Phoenix this weekend. Explore Gwinnett is our third sponsor. They've been around for a while now. They're the Tourism Bureau of Gwinnett County, and we're the most diverse county in the state, and so they have a lot of work to do. They just recently started up Soul Train, which is about Korean food, and you buy tickets, go on a bus ride, visit about 4 or 5 different Korean style restaurants.
That sounds yummy.
It is, and it's a great thing, and they've sold out. I think they might still have some tickets for August, maybe, but they've sold out the first rounds of doing that. So great places. Explore Gwinnett. You can find more things to do in Gwinnett County at exploregwinnett.org.
Fabulous. Well, thank you very much. Today's guest is Todd Wall, president of E Squared Equal P Incorporated and founder of the Drone Racing Club.
Yes.
As an experienced technology entrepreneur, he's a consultant, a technology evangelist. He's going to help us talk about how we can leverage technology, the opportunities to unlock more value in your business.
Sure.
If you're looking at doing a tech startup, looking at some of the trends going forward in spaces where we need people out there creating businesses, solution right here in Technology Park in Petrie Corners and all around the great city of Atlanta. Todd, thank you for being a guest today.
Yeah, man. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate that. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your experience and a little bit about yourself for the audience?
I guess I can kind of give you a brief background. I wasn't exactly the best student in school, in high school that is. So, but I did spend a lot of time around business men and women in mostly in the Augusta area. That's where I grew up, and lucky enough to have rubbed shoulders with some of the very successful business folks in that area because I volunteered for the Greater Augusta Chamber of Commerce through my teenage years. Had a varied background in different industries through my teenage years and into my 20s. And ended up working for a Fortune 500 company, which was ConAgra, their grain processing division, and learned real quick about the bureaucratic type of pigeonholing that can happen there. Although I did excel in that position, I decided that I wanted to pursue being an entrepreneur. My lifelong dream of starting a technology consulting business, which initially didn't go too well. I started in Augusta and didn't do fare too well. So my brother invited me to come to Atlanta, a land of opportunity is what he said. Technology was booming at that time in the late 90s, early 2000s. Moved to Atlanta and to pursue my lifelong dream of having a technology consulting company through a lot of, grit and determination. I was able to, build a good, sustainable career and income, and I just exited it back in 2016, a successful sale, where I pivoted into drones, part-time and full-time. I did a stint at the world's largest community-based drone racing league called MultiGP. I was the president and COO there. It's a startup. I worked with them for a little over a year, and then pivoted into doing my own, the thing I'm passionate about, which is helping businesses to, recognize opportunity, build value, and look at what the long-term goal is and how to facilitate, an exit if there is one needed there, right? But that's me.
Cool. Well, maybe I start a little bit about some of your experience when you started technology businesses. For folks out there that are in that journey right now, what's some of the things that you learned that you didn't expect that you think a lot of people may miss when they go down that path?
Let's see here. So there was two major lessons that I wish I had implemented as early as possible. Is whether you're doing that solo entrepreneur kind of initiative or not, it's good to start off with a good ledger, like a QuickBooks. Spreadsheets are good, but they don't necessarily give you insight into the details, right? Or warn you about the potential income to expense ratios going upside down. So moving into a platform, business management solution or piece of software that helps me gather the information and process the information and act upon it was a good start component. Aside from that, making sure you have good legal advice on that front, and really understanding your target market as well. So those three things were big, significant things.
It's interesting that you mentioned both from an accounting standpoint and financials and legal.
Yeah.
I find a lot of entrepreneurs in technology space, they're so passionate about the technology and what they're building.
Exactly.
And they think
that was me.
We will build it and they will come and it will take care of everything else. But I think
until it doesn't.
Until it doesn't. But thinking broader as a business person as well, and engaging with folks, I find that it's something where the books get kind of screwed up. They don't know where it's going and they get in trouble. And most importantly, at some point they may go to a bank or an investor.
Right.
And if they can't tell them what the history of the financial looks like, it's really tough to get funding support to get to the next level or to keep you sustained over time.
Knowing if you're making money off of a product or service in the near term and not waiting till quarter end or year end to balance it out is critical in this day and age too for the success or failure of any small business, I think.
Do you find yourself, when you're going online, you mentioned QuickBooks, for example, right? I think every business that's out there either uses QuickBooks or FreshBooks, or there's a bunch of them.
Yeah, or something.
Yeah, because you could just check day to day.
Yeah.
You can, minute to minute, hour to hour, you could be looking at your finances.
Yeah.
And some people do that all day long because maybe so much money is changing hands. Was that a strong component of what you felt you needed for the business as well?
Yeah, not until after I found out the hard way that things weren't as positive as I thought they were, right? I was inebriated, like what you said, in the technology space and getting the business. I was busy working in the business instead of on it, you know what I mean? And then, of course, income to expense ratios weren't where they needed to be. I had to start leveraging credit lines. Well, had I known it earlier, I could have been hustling to get rid of the products or services that weren't making me any money and spend time on those that were.
So you were using like QuickBooks to be able to tell you, or that technology to tell you where you needed to cut back on.
Well, even that, I call it like a business management solution, right? A BMS. QuickBooks is a ledger primarily. It can do some other things, but having a business management solution that is a ledger is great. But it's only as good as, just like any database, right? The quality of the input dictates the quality of the output and the time at which you're doing it. So I went from, those receipts and all those things piling up and having to do catch up, I hated, to doing it in real time, which helped drastically in getting into that rhythm. So, if you're like me, the finance was not the strongest suit in my, experience, back pocket kind of thing. But, you just got to do the hard things sometimes.
Would
So,
you recommend to someone if they recognize that about themselves today,
Yeah.
either outsource it, get a partner they can
Sure.
trust to keep on top
Oh, yeah.
until they either get more comfortable with it or at least get the foundation set strong?
Yep. I absolutely am a proponent, especially with small businesses. If you don't have the time or talent, you better outsource it. There's no two ways about it. You leverage somebody else at a reduced cost rather than having to hire somebody full time.
Yeah.
Outsourcing in this day and age is paramount to, I think, a startup to, really migrating through the survival operational maturity wise,
I talked to a business owner the other day, and we had this really interesting conversation just on the accounting thing. Very successful professional, and spends a disproportionate amount of time doing reconciliations and accounting
Right.
work,
Mm-hmm.
and not able to really do a very good job of it. Of course, that happened. What's interesting when a buyer is looking at that business, and they see a line that says, "Well, I do it myself, so I only pay an attorney, an accountant once a year to do my taxes, $500." Most buyers will add that cost back in and
yeah.
decrease the just because you chose not to spend the money there.
Sure.
If your books aren't in good shape,
Yeah.
they're gonna take a hit on that, on the value of your business,
Yeah.
because they're looking. He said, "Well, obviously, if I come in, someone's got to fix it
Yep.
and sustain it. So that's expense is real, just because you chose not to do it."
That's funny because the first year of one of my businesses, it did that, and the CPA had to spend hours fixing the stuff
yeah.
I put in.
Oh, yeah.
After that, it was like I hired a bookkeeper out of state.
Yeah.
2 hours a month. She just did the
Sure.
work and made sure everything was in the right place
Right.
and in categories correctly.
Saved you money in the long
Yes.
run, made us
Absolutely.
less.
Well, I think having a good foundation, right?
Yeah.
Getting that consultation early to, hey, what do the chart accounts need to look like, and what do you need to track inbound and outbound is crucial, not only to you, again, having quality data to record and track, but also to ensure that you are building value in those books as
Right,
well, right?
right.
In other words, what information do I need to see, and what information does my accountant need to see to advise me properly, as opposed to, what information would an investor or prospective buyer need to see. Even if you're not selling, it's better to, you never go wrong by building value in your business on all parts, right?
Yeah.
Are there other technologies, online technology, or even apps or other things that you find useful?
Oh yeah, there's some specific to different types of business, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm in the service business, there, for example, in the IT business, which was my company that I did was IT consulting, service and support. There's a business management solution that is a sub-ledger that works in tandem with QuickBooks, which brings to the forefront the CRM component, right? The daily workflow management component. For us, it was project and what we call trouble ticket management. And then, of course, beyond that, we used another tool that integrated with all three, QuickBooks, this BMS solution, and which was a monitoring and alerting piece for the technology itself, the servers, the workstations, that kind of thing. And I really, just to talk to that fact, there are a lot of different platforms that deliver different levels of functionality based on the business, or the industry.
Right.
But the key to that is in this day and age having integration or the ability to integrate those platforms together, so you don't end up with data silos, which can be the death of you.
That's interesting because Salesforce is like that, right? With all the
Correct.
modules to be able to plug in,
Yeah.
make sure your sales team is doing the right thing.
Sure.
And still
Oh, yeah.
have a broad range of data coming to them.
So I remember, if you look at like the evolution of kind of technology, it was all about the technology itself and the drives and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And that got us up well into the 2000s. We had a .com. We've had
Sure.
drones coming in
Yeah,
and
yeah.
automate driverless car technologies
Yep.
and all these things that are widget based and so on. if we were to look going into the future and you were an entrepreneur coming in and you had time, energy, and excitement, what areas of technology are you seeing a lot of great opportunities and activity in now?
So there's a couple big things I think that are going to change a lot of different industries across the board. One of which is artificial intelligence, machine learning, that kind of thing. I think it's the first time in history where hardware development and processing or power capabilities is nearly on par with the software. It used to be way back when, the hardware and processing capability or power was not on par with the software development. Meaning, hey, at one point it used to be the hardware was well advanced and the software capabilities could not maximize that. And we've been in the reverse where, hey, the software capabilities, the programming capabilities overstrains what the hardware can do. Now we're at a point where it's fairly matched, and we're doing some incredible, amazing things with that technology as far as hardware and software capabilities, which, the result is the autonomous cars, right? The result is autonomous drones. The result is artificial intelligence being able to really kind of fudge on the Turing test, which is trick somebody into thinking that a computer program is actually human, right? We've got Alexa in the home. We've got, that interacts with you. You've got Cortana with the Microsoft platform, Google AI.
But those are just interacting on a reactionary basis.
Yes, right.
They're working on things now that's even more advanced.
Oh, yeah. Oh, without a doubt. It used to be AI as a function was more of a dream type of thing, right? Where computer systems could be able to literally look at different types of information, right? And relate them together, and then actually act upon them or do a predictive analysis on them. It's changing the way big business. I mean, look at Amazon. Amazon is entire success of that system has everything to do with AI. A lot of people don't understand that, but they are getting to the point, and that's how they're able to deliver by next business day and make money on the Prime, which everybody thought was foolish. It has everything to do with an analytic, a predictive analysis, and maximizing resources.
You know what, I keep thinking every time, and we were doing this before, when we're typing screen stuff, and it's predicting the next word.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same thing for buying.
Same
I'm
thing.
on Amazon quite a bit, and they're just predicting almost the next thing I'm going to be buying.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
So,
well, they know you better than you know
right.
you. I mean, no kidding.
So that's
from that
interesting. In the Amazon and Alexa, people see that. Can you tell us a little bit about what other industries that are behind that it hasn't even begun to come into, and how it can change and impact that?
Right. Well, we're seeing disruption in the retail market. There's no doubt about it, right? The Macy's, the JCPenney's are faltering in the shadow of an Amazon, right? Amazon really hasn't done a good job of infiltrating the garment business, right? But Macy's and those other folks haven't done a good job of anticipating that, right? So they're due for a major disruption, or they're going to go out of business. I mean, all of them are on their heels. Luckily, a lot of them have cash, which is
some
good.
of them, like Nordstrom, is actually seeming to come back a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
But most of them, they're not doing it.
Well, when you think of the retail experience, even the way we traditionally approach shopping, where I want to buy something, I'm going to walk in the store, I'm going to walk around aisles, look for things.
Yeah.
That was a model that lasted for 50 years easily for folks to shop.
100 years.
But now there are so many things that you would never want to experience that with. And are retailers changing the way they shop using technology and AI, where I walk into a store, it knows the top 10 items that I often get, and it knows the things that pleases me that would highlight, and show me where in the store it is,
Right.
and put a map on there to take me to it.
Sure.
And when I get there, instead of them having me a whole bunch of product to look at and look at the box like at Best Buy, it's actually demonstrating it to me. So I can make a decision. I like what I'm seeing. I want one of those, and
Now-
I order it on my phone, and it's at home.
Is
when I
that
get
based
home.
on their business app and their data? Because eventually that stuff has to become universal.
Right.
Because no one's going to have 100 apps on their phone.
Right.
I mean, eventually
Yeah.
that whole thing has to be UI, has to be cross everything.
Mhm.
I should be able to put my glasses on and be able to see an augmented reality, right? Isn't that
Right,
where we're
right.
going?
I
To a
think
degree.
that has part to do with it. I still think human beings are, still base everything off of sensory exposure.
Yes.
Touch, feel, smell, see combination, and that's what really resonates with us. So, there's some things that you can buy online that don't require that touch and feel, smell kind of thing. I think that's why Amazon is, maybe not 100% leveraging or taking over that garment market, is because a lot of people have to try it on.
And the food.
And the food, well, yeah, well,
They
I
bought
mean,
Whole Foods and this.
Whole Foods and doing delivery. I mean, of that. That's again, that's a tough one, right? So, are they successful yet? I don't know if they're successful 100%. I guess that's still out for debate. But they're making inroads. They're trying to figure it out. There's no two ways about it. They're spending billions of dollars on it. Yeah. I don't know if you remember, but there used to be a delivery service that used to leverage brick and mortar grocery stores.
Peapod?
It was
Oh.
Peachtree.
Here in Atlanta.
Yeah, it was here in Atlanta. I
Was it
mean,
here?
it was almost 8 years ago. Yeah,
Yeah.
Uh,
And I
it
think
was a,
Peapod up in Massachusetts did something like that too.
yeah.
You could order it, they'd go pick it up, drop
Yeah.
it off. They got bought by Stop and Shop.
Did they?
Parent,
Yeah.
at some point. So yeah, these companies are, but I could see, I was talking to a business owner the other day, and he had a product or service for just small scale retail, and something as simple as a dry cleaner. He was explaining to me
Right.
the process around that. And so you ever go in there, you give them your ticket, and they hit the button, and the conveyor comes around with
Right.
the clothes, and you wonder, what are you even looking at when you know to stop it exactly at that spot? And he said, well, today, you could have it where something embedded in the clothes, each garment,
Right.
in a button even. as simple as
RFID
your
or
bar.
something. Yeah.
And every time you drop it off, they don't have to ask your ticket or anything. It goes in, gets washed, cleaned, stacked, and all that transaction happens. You pay for it, and when you get there, you drive up, and the thing starts moving and just stops right at your spot.
Right.
Yeah.
And I said, that sounds like a great idea someone could possibly do, because
Sure.
labor,
Technology
you've got
exists to
4
do
or
that.
5
Mhm.
people.
And the data they will get, because they know which brand you
Oh,
brought,
yeah.
you just brought them. They know the time of day you're
Oh,
going.
yeah.
I mean, it's just
But let me tell you, it's already done. He then
Yes.
walked over and showed me it in operation already.
Sure.
That solution already
Surprised.
exists. So I see traditional, something as simple as a retailer implementing technology in
Yeah.
a new way. So what types of opportunity do you see just regular business people just not even leveraging what they may already have in there?
Yeah, I think it a lot of it has to do. I really feel like since we're in the information age, I mean, we're in the information revolution, right? The key to success on the small business side to the big business side, and again, a lot of the big business are good examples of this, is the speed at which you gather data, process that data, and act upon it is going to be a key differentiator between you and your competition. I'm consulting with several different businesses on what does that look like, right? And again, having a platform to gather that, or at least process that data is going to be essential and key. And then leveraging not only software but hardware to gather that data, just like you're talking about, right? That the sensor aspect. It could be computer vision aspect. It could be location-based information through an app that the users are using, like Target uses, right? There's been some controversy about that as well. What should be considered private information about an individual and what should be, owned by that company is
But
tricky.
But do you find, what I find with my kids, I have a 24 and 22
Okay.
and a 15-year-old.
Mhm.
None of them care, almost. Well,
Yeah.
I shouldn't say that. One of them does care because he's a bit of a conspiracy
Yeah,
person.
right.
And he's a journalist major, so you can
Oh,
feel
okay. Yeah.
that. But for the most part, they don't mind giving that information
Yeah,
out.
right.
Because it's just, life is easier for them.
Sure.
I mean, they buy things on Instagram sometimes. I mean, you can do that now.
Yeah. Mhm.
They see things that their friends are doing. And all that data that's out there, all that sharing, all
Yeah.
that Venmo payments, even just making a payment
Sure.
is a social interaction
Yeah.
that most of them don't even keep private.
Right.
So it's just so many various places that you can get that info.
Well, I mean,
But they won't share it with the business though, right?
what's that? What do
Like,
you mean?
let's say Venmo becomes a mode of payment to you.
Mhm, mhm.
You're a business, you're using Venmo, you can pay for my product through that,
Mhm.
through PayPal.
Mhm.
Can you get that data as a business person?
As a business person, you do have some access to the data, and I'll just give you an example. So if I'm a Visa or MasterCard, they typically own that data and don't necessarily parse it out to the vendor or the merchant, 100%. So a lot of these companies come out with their own credit cards, right? So that's one way of owning the information. Good example is Target using the red card. I don't know if you know what that is, right? They wanted the transactional level information about that individual and how it relates to the demographic is really what they want.
And
So,
Venmo has their own card.
yes.
Because this way they don't have to deal with the banks.
Right.
And you can just leave it right with them.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think our banking system too, you're talking about
Yeah.
a disruptor,
Oh, yeah.
needs to be totally rethought. I mean, it used to be that you had to have your money held somewhere, no matter what. But it was when it was paper.
Right.
And so we're not living in a paper money society anymore. It's more digital than it is paper. And the banking system and even the government oversight is still tied to paper in
Yeah.
the most ridiculous way.
Yeah.
So the speed at which a transaction can happen, if a traditional bank's involved, is slow, cumbersome. It's risky,
Yeah.
to be honest with you.
Even nowadays, if you're doing a certain transaction, you're doing it electronically, and they said, well, by 4 o'clock, you have to get it done,
Right.
and it can
Oh, yeah.
post and so on.
By
and
the
I
next
know for a
business day or
fact
something.
that technology
Oh, without a
exists
doubt.
where it
Yeah.
could absolutely do that, but the
No
policies,
doubt.
laws, practices.
If I convince my daughter $40 at 8 o'clock at night because she needs to get gas,
Yeah.
Right.
and she has the card,
Yep.
she can pay for that gas
Yeah,
right
Yeah,
then
there's
and
no
there.
reason why it can't happen any other
That's
way.
right.
There are some
Yeah.
transactions that still take 4 to 5 days to clear, especially the larger ones. And I understand there's controls, but I think there's security. There's things in place already
Yep.
that could allow even larger transactions.
Well,
to
and
happen.
to be honest with you, not to talk about cryptocurrency, but the technology behind cryptocurrency is going to revolutionize every bit of that, and has already started to. Blockchain is what I'm talking about. Is how to validate information and justify it in through independent means, not necessarily, hey, right now Visa is the only one that justifies that, right? And if they're screwed up on their bucks, nobody knows.
And you know what?
You know.
Blockchain is not just for money anymore.
Oh, it's not. No.
Blockchain,
Yeah.
anything.
That's what people don't realize. Yeah. They associate it with cryptocurrency as
Right.
far as, but it's a method of validating information. Really, is really what it is, and it's decentralized, and it's agnostic to a particular type of system to a certain degree. I mean, nothing's infallible, but the whole idea is having a distributed ledger, which is
Right.
what we don't have from a bank or a Visa,
That's
right? That does a auto check and balance as if my ledger, which is one of a million, don't line up with the rest, then it's not legitimate, as opposed to I'm Visa and I'm the only ledger, or I'm the bank and I'm the only ledger. I can fudge, well, I mean, heck, we know about many banking calamities over the past couple decades that was, a problem. The mortgage industry just went through a flop, right? And because of that that single ledger kind of
Right. It's just-
fallacy that that's secure. It's not.
And a
So-
bunch of other things. too.
Yeah, a lot of things. Well,
It's amazing though when you think about where technology has taken us now, and I know we just scratched the surface of
Yeah.
of stuff we could do. We'd love to continue, but wanted to maybe learn a little bit about anything you got coming up or going on, where folks can reach you and contact you to engage in and learn more about the opportunities available to them.
yeah. I can be found on Twitter, LinkedIn. It's Todd Wall, WAHL, that is, and Todd with 2 Ds. Same thing with Facebook. Plus, my website is E2, the actual numeral 2, ep.co, not .com. So you can find out more information about my company, E squared equals P. But as far as the future is concerned, I'm looking for businesses that are in need of help, basically organizing their business, prioritizing things like, process and strategy, and looking to build value in their business. I also act as an owner advocate, not a broker necessarily, but an owner advocate or advisor on, well, how do you build value in your business, whether you want to exit or not. You're going to benefit from it.
Well,
right?
I see a tsunami coming of folks that are looking to retire or transition out.
Oh yeah, baby
And
boomers.
they've got enough time and foresight now to engage with folks like yourself,
Yeah.
to get their house in order, understand how to position
Sure.
their business for an exit if that's what they choose, or passing it on to their children. It's kind of like doing housekeeping and
Yeah.
get your house in order before you make that transition. But I want to thank
Why not,
you
right?
very much for sharing some of your advice and wisdom and
Yeah.
some of your experience, and just really beginning to get people to think about technology in a different way, ways it can help them, the ways that it can help improve the value of their business, and just opportunities out there. There's a lot of new opportunities that we want smart people, hopefully here in Petrie Corners, to
Yeah.
figure out solutions, start companies. But they're there to be had for those to do it. So
Sure.
thanks for sharing some of that.
Yeah, I would even advise those small businesses to analyze what they know about their technology they use, right? Or analyze what's now available out there in the market as far as emerging technologies and how it can benefit their business. So if they go through that exercise, I promise you it'll be an eye-opener for anybody that hasn't done any major changes in the last 3 years, because a lot of that stuff has had serious impacts.
Absolutely.
It's either going to put you out of business or it's going to put you at the forefront of business, no doubt about it.
Sounds
Thanks,
good.
Todd.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Todd. I'd like to thank Atlanta Tech Park for hosting us, of course.
Great place, by the way.
Capitalist Age podcast. And so if you ever want to stop by 107 Technology Parkway in Petrie Corners and visit the site, and if you're thinking of doing some technology business, meet some of the tech companies and businesses that are here locally.
Incredible vibe here, by the way. I love it. This is a great place.
Great environment.
Yeah.
I'm Carl Barham with Transworld Business Advisors of Atlanta Petrie. We're here to just help the local business community with figuring out all these complex things around how to value their business, how to position their business for maximum value whenever they choose to make a sale. So you can reach me at kbarham@tworld.com, or check out Transworld, www.tworld.com, Atlanta Peachtree. And Rico, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you've got coming up?
Sure. My name is Rico Figliolini. If you can say that, Rico's fine.
Tongue twister.
Yeah, definitely a northerner. I
Yeah.
come from New York. I own Mighty Rockets. MightyRockets.com is where you can find out most of what I do, which is social media, online content, videography. I'm also a publisher of Petrie Corners magazines. You can visit that at livinginpetriecorners.com. And I want to thank Annie Fogel for being behind the cameras,
Good job,
for
Annie.
doing a good job here
Good
today.
job, Annie.
She's from Norcross High School, and we normally have Quinn Watch from Paul Duke High School, so this is sort of giving a little equal time.
Equal time, absolutely.
good.
So thanks, Annie.
Two great schools.
Really great.
Absolutely.
Well, we want to thank everybody for coming. We have more episodes coming up. We'll have, Rico, we've got urban farm business, someone that has an interesting story, converting from big industrial farm to small farming.
Sure.
and we've got another local business owner that's in the food and beverage space coming up with lots of other guests
Yes.
to just talk
Yeah.
about some of the things that they can share with us. So thank you for tuning in. It's the Capital S Sage podcast. Signing off. Have a good day, everyone.
Take care.